If you have ever had any tension in your left hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder, all of the above, and or if you've ever felt really uncomfortable playing higher than middle C with your left hand on your harp, this video is for you. This is something that I have seen surprisingly often in my students, this sort of sneaky little postural thing that can really introduce a lot of tension into the left side of the body. So what I'm going to do right now actually is show you two different ways of positioning my left hand at the harp, and then I'm going to explain what the difference is, but see if you can kind of spot it. So here's way number one. Okay. Here's way number two. Similar, but a little bit different. Okay, I'll go one more time. Here's one. And here's two. Okay, so the main difference here, in my mind, is that when students hold their hand like this, they are not really thinking about the hand and the arm as one connected unit. We're sort of being like, well, this is how my hand is supposed to sit, and then we sort of just forget about the arm and it's left to its own devices and it's just kind of gonna do whatever. So what ends up happening when I place my hand like this in the second way that I did earlier, what I end up doing is if I kind of, you can even see this here, there's this huge angle here where my wrist meets my hand. I'm feeling a lot of tension and shortened muscles, especially in the back of my hand, in my thumb. And if I go this way, look at this. My arm is pressed right up against the side of my body. There is no space between my elbow and my body or at my armpit either. The first way that I place my hand, this way, you can see there's much less of a bend here where the hand meets the forearm. It's more or less straight, maybe just a little bit of an angle, but not anywhere close to what I was doing before. And check it out. Look at all this space here between my elbow and my body, and I got lots of room here at my armpit. So when I'm placing my hand this way, I'm really kind of thinking about approaching the harp with my whole forearm, and that includes my wrist and my hand and my fingers, not just my fingers on their own. Now, that is a little bit abstract. So if that doesn't really make sense to you, I do have some practical fixes as well. So number one, this may just totally fix it in the blink of an eye, super easy, is just if you can lift your elbow away from your body, instantly that's going to change. I don't know if you can see it from here, but so here's the angle of my hand when I've got my elbow tucked in, and then if I just raise my elbow, here's now the angle of my hand. So it's a lot less acute. Now, when we raise the elbow, I don't want you to think too much about up, right? We don't want to overdo it. And I don't want you to necessarily think forward or back or whatever. What I really want you to actually think is out. We want the elbow out and away from the body so we have space. It's not really so much about being high as it is about creating space between sort of your ribs and your elbow, and especially the armpit, because we've got a lot of nerves that pass right here, and when we're all crunched up here, no blood flow is really getting through there. Well, not none, but it's going to create a lot of tension, could potentially cause some pain. Something else to consider here too is that when we are playing with our hand at the harp, our hand is really held up by our forearm. It's held up by our elbow, right? Because otherwise it's kind of just hanging in space. And so the hand is actually supported from below by the forearm. So when it's coming at this angle here, away from the body, we get that support. When the elbow is tucked in here, that support is not really reaching the hand, and then the hand is going to have to work a lot harder to play. That's going to result in a lot of tension, potentially pain as well. So that's one really easy fix, is just bring the elbow out, away from your body a little bit. Another way you can think about it, potentially if this works for you, is if you can kind of think about the pinky side of your hand and sort of maybe think about rotating that away from you right? So kind of having that pinky part of your hand face, not like totally facing the wall, but rather than kind of pointing straight downwards, that pinky side of your hand, if we can rotate it so it's a little bit more at an angle, kind of forwards and downwards, I would say. That's another way to think about it. And another way you can kind of think about it potentially is when you're bringing your hand to the string, is rather than just thinking about your hand approaching the strings, if you can kind of think about like the end of your forearm as if your hand almost wasn't even there, and like coming up to the strings with that part of your arm, and then kind of letting the fingers settle. That's another way you can kind of think about it. So there's whatever way resonates with you and whatever way feels good. That's kind of the most important thing. So I really hope that's helpful, because I know playing with tension, playing with pain is not fun. So I'm hoping that this is kind of a nice, quick, easy fix for you. It may take some time to like really change your habits. But when I've worked with students with this problem, it's really made a difference for them pretty quickly. And you know, if you'd like to have a teacher to work through this with you, and you don't have one right now, my studio is actually taking new students, so you can always check out the link in the description if you're interested in that. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.